Hey guys, I'm Mike Goldstein, founder of EasyDatingCoach.com. Thank you for joining us. We've got such an exciting topic. It's how to activate a man's potential. And we've got my new friend, Anya, here. Anya, say hi to everybody.
Hi, everyone. I'm excited to be here.
I am pumped for this because this is like a brand new topic for my channel. So let's get right into it, Anya. What is an elevated woman, a voiceless beauty slash rigid warrior? I love this question. What is that?
Yeah, so this is just like the context that will really help us understand what it means to activate a man's masculine potential, which is what we want to talk about today. And the elevated woman is the main archetype that I work with to support women to really step into their highest feminine energy and their fullest potential, really. So the way I like to describe it is most of the time women are usually operating in these two other categories. The first one is the voiceless beauty, we call it. And the voiceless beauty is a woman who is operating in her feminine energy. So she has no problem like receiving and being soft and receptive in that more feminine state, but she doesn't understand her value. So she's attracting relationships, she's attracting men, but they're relationships that are not necessarily empowering to her. Or perhaps she doesn't necessarily feel like she has a voice, and maybe she's wanting something that she's not getting in her relationship, and she's not really experiencing that respect and honor that she deep down wants, but on a surface level doesn't even really fully know that she can have that. So it's just a more disempowered state of being. The other side of the equation is the rigid warrior. And the rigid warrior is more classically like strong, empowered woman who knows her worth in the world, but has put it more on the external circumstances that she's created. So her career, her work, the things that she owns, all of the accolades and what she's created externally, she has placed her worth in that. So a common mindset of the rigid warrior is, I don't understand why, like I have everything, I've created everything. Why is that? Why am I not attracting a high-powered man to match this high-powered life that I've created? But the problem with the rigid warrior way of life is that she's operating more in her masculine energy. So no matter how empowered a man is, he will most likely, like 90% of the time, be more inclined to go toward the voiceless beauty because she's in her feminine energy. So it doesn't matter how much you have created and how much success you have earned. It's all about where you're placing your value. And so the elevated woman is really the bridge and the elevation of both. So the elevated woman is all about dropping inward and moving within and realizing that as women, we actually don't have to do anything to be valuable in a man's life. That it's actually our presence, our voice, our touch, just the way we are naturally, that is such a valuable gift to him. So it's not really about all the things that we're doing for him or all the things that we've created and the success that we have. It's really remembering that just inherently our presence is so valuable. So the elevated woman has learned that her value comes from within. It's all about moving within. Yeah, what's up?
I love that. So just to understand, because like obviously we want to move women towards that being an elevated woman. So would that just be taking a voiceless beauty, giving her an amazing voice that is delivered properly? Is that our elevated woman?
It's a really good question because it's like, how do we do this,
Uh-huh.
So a lot of, and maybe we can move a little bit into the other archetypes here. A lot of so really it's a journey. And we all have both voiceless beauty and rigid warrior energies within us, because as women, we're all healing right now. I mean, as humans, we're all healing. When we land in this life, and then we are on this journey of self-discovery and self-empowerment, understanding, who am I? What is my purpose? What is my worth? What is my value here? And that's a journey for every single person. I mean, if you think back to yourself like 10 years ago and the behaviors that you were engaging in, the people that you perhaps were surrounding yourself with, and that, you can see your own growth, the way that your perspective of yourself has changed. So this is just a process. The elevated woman embodies refinement. So it's really the process of self-discovery and refinement. So it's not about, let's see. So I have both wounds that come from my rigid warrior and voiceless beauty energies. That's like my lower, that's me in my wounded state. So I have done a lot of work to come into this elevated woman potential. That's the work I do with clients. And that's what we're all doing as coaches, is helping women see, this is what's possible for you. Like, this is what you get to do to live in this state. So the answer to your question, I would say it's more, we say that she's a voiceless beauty. It's more just because she hasn't owned her voice. She hasn't, and voice meaning power. She hasn't owned how powerful and worthy and valuable she is. Most women haven't. I mean, I even haven't. I'm still on this journey. We all are on this process of learning how important we are to the world. That's what this is all about. So I would say the biggest way to do this is to actually learn how to feel your value inside. As women, our value is in our energy. So the work, a lot of the work that we do with Elevated Woman it's about activating the feminine energy within. And so once you have a feeling of it, nobody can ever take that away. Nobody can ever take away this feeling of dignity and honor and grace and respect that you begin to have within your own self. So it's this internal process that is totally like rewiring the system so that you can actually live a life that's in alignment with your highest potential.
Ooh, that sounds exciting. I feel like that's like really escalating the women who's watching their lives into this higher being. So that sounds really exciting. All right, I want to shift gears a little bit. So offline, you and I were talking about the feminine archetypes, and I'd love to continue that online. So what are the feminine archetypes?
Yes. So the way to become an elevated woman is part of the elevated woman is embodying your full feminine energy and your full feminine potential. Part of that, as women, our value and our power lies in our dynamic nature. So if you just think about all the clothes that are in your closet, the shoes that you have, the different colors you like to paint your nails, just the different seasons and how you feel in the different seasons, all of this change and dynamic energy of nature and in your own life, your emotions and moods, this is all expressive of your feminine power. The masculine power is straightforward, it's concise, it's clear, it's direct. That is the power of the masculine presence in our lives. And we crave that, we need that, we love that. But what's happened is we haven't really been raised to value the dynamic fluctuations of life as well. In fact, a lot of us have been raised to fear them. We want to control we want to have control. We've been raised to feel comfortable when we're in control, rather than raised to learn how to feel comfortable in complete chaos. And really life is chaotic. Life is every single day there's unknowns. So we're taught to adopt this masculine, rigid way of living, of trying to clamp down, when really our greatest power comes in learning how to surrender and let life happen and respond to life from a place of love and centeredness and connection. These are all feminine energy qualities. So the 6 main archetypes that I work with Elevated Women are really a way to awaken your dynamic feminine energy. The 6 archetypes are the goddess, which, these are classic archetypes. They're not anything that you've most likely heard of them before. We're just working with them in a different way. Oh, okay. Mike's like, no, I haven't.
Yeah, teach me. I'm ready to learn.
Okay. So the goddess is the first feminine archetype that I like to work with. And the goddess is all about our connection to nature. It's this natural beauty that we all hold. It's that without any makeup, without anything externally, we are so powerful. It's like there's this vibration and pulsation within a woman's body that when a man is touching her and near her, he can feel this life force. That's what it's called Shakti. It's the divine feminine energy. And it's everything. It's life, it's creative energy, it's sexual energy, and we are embodiments of that. So it's this power that we hold as women that men crave. And we're not taught that, we have this. And okay, so this is where I get very passionate. But I'm just gonna, is that okay? Just to go for it.
Absolutely. Okay. Let's have it.
Okay, so this is a little bit of a side turn, but I've been making some videos on this recently, and I think it's an important topic to address, that human trafficking, sex trafficking, rape, violence, just abuse in general. Of course, this isn't necessarily gender specific, but about 70 to 80% of the women, of the humans who are put into sex trafficking, human trafficking, are women and children. All children are operating in their feminine energy until they hit puberty, and then there's this polarity that happens. That's a totally different topic. And so, one of the biggest questions to address if obviously this is not something that is positive for the world, for anybody. It's hugely upsetting that sex trafficking, human trafficking is happening, and children are being traded and used for sex. There's nothing that's okay about that. But what we are doing is asking, okay, what do we do about it? When we really need to ask, why is it happening in the first place? Because when we ask that question, we begin to discover that, if something's on the market, if something's being sold and traded, there's a value that it holds. That those people that don't have it, like, you buy something because you don't have it and you need it and you want it. So there's something within us as women, and children too, that is needed so deeply by this world, by the masculine presence. We need to reclaim that power. So to get back to the goddess, the goddess really represents this sexual energy that is inherent in every single woman. And when we begin to realize that without doing anything, we are this vibration of life and sexual energy and love and beauty, that is so valuable. When we can walk in the world, just walking down to the coffee shop, walking into a date, knowing and embodying that value. I mean, it's you become untouchable, and also like you instantly elevate the way people respect you. So that's the goddess. There's 5 more. I don't know if you want to comment or anything.
No, that was fabulous. I want to hear what the next one is.
Okay, so the next one is the queen. And the queen is embodying I call them elevated feminine energies. She's embodying the elevated feminine energies of nobility and dignity and honor, grace, and elegance. Elegance is one of my favorite words. She is in a place of leadership, but she's connected to her spirituality to be in that place of leadership. So she's not in a place of leadership to take from anybody. She's really here to serve everyone. So she is elevated on this throne wearing a crown. And I like to say that the crown, those little spokes, they're really symbolic of there's this higher wisdom that we all can tap into. Our value as women is in this connection to source energy, or that higher wisdom, that higher spiritual power. We all have that as humans, but specifically as women, like, we are the carriers of babies. When a seed enters our body and a soul matches that seed, and then we birth this baby into the world. So we are one step closer to source, to spirituality. And that's part of our power. It's so massive, it's huge. So this connection to spirit is definitely what the queen embodies as well. But really, it's nobility, grace, dignity, honor. And then the next archetype is the maiden. And the maiden is all about reclaiming connection to the innocence and the vulnerability, the softness, sweetness, kindness, really the inner child within, that little girl who, you know, when you were developed and when your body started to develop, that's like the stage of the maiden. She's it's that process of becoming fertile and new. Everything is new. She's so open, and this innocence is so beautiful. And if you talk to men, it's actually an energy that men want to be around and crave, that innocence, that sweetness, because they can protect that. You know, there's that's an energy within a woman that it's really important to be in touch with that and not shy away from allowing yourself to be that vulnerable. Do you have any comments on that, Mike?
Yeah, I just I find that interesting that men, I guess the way I think about it is like men have a problem at this point where they want to feel needed in a society where women are now just like really kicking butt in terms of amazing careers and just finding their own way in this world where 100, 150 years ago, they weren't working, they weren't in the workforce, and voiceless was actually the preferred state sometimes 100, 150 years ago. So now men are like, all right, I used to make the income. I used to be the big protector. I used to kill lions. I used to slay dragons. Now, what am I doing here? And so I think that makes sense with the maiden, where it's like, okay, she's innocent and she's discovering the world. Well, let me show her the world. That'll be my need. And let me make sure I protect her from people that want to take advantage of her because she, you know, is so open. And so that's beautiful. He's excited because he's like, ooh, I get to do something. So he's got a purpose. So that makes a lot of sense why men would be attracted to that. So very, very neat.
Yeah, exactly. I love that you said that too, because it's pointing to, you know, our power. We are in this process, like we were talking about earlier, of healing. So we need to find our voice. We need to find our power in the outer world, but also remember that there's a power in innocence. There's a power in vulnerability, and there's a power of openness. And there's a power of the maiden that if you lock yourself out of your ability to surrender and you decide that you can do everything, you're not actually in your greatest feminine power. You're like locking yourself off from a portion of it. That's huge. So that's what this is all about. It's like, you know, what ultimately we're doing is it's like unlocking every dynamic, every nature of the goddess, or every nature of the feminine energy. It's the goddess herself, actually, going back to her for a moment, she shapeshifts. You know, she's untamable. She is completely wild and free, and you can't put her into a box. And that's fun for a man as well. You know, there's this power when you can be fully just free and fully self-expressive, and you keep him on his toes. It's like from one moment to the next, he has no idea what you're going to express. And there's just this excitement because remember, again, he is simple. He is like straightforward. And so he's like this and you're like this. And that energy, when both of you are polarized to those levels, is so powerful in a relationship.
Yeah, I kind of love how you put the man at this like straight line. And I just like envision this woman like kind of like dancing around him and him just kind of like turning with her and just smiling and being like, this is amazing. I have this woman that's like just free and exciting. And all I want to do is I can't keep my eyes off of her. And that causes him to cherish her and want her. And she's just like having fun. And he's just admiring how amazing she is. And that's kind of what I'm envisioning, especially with this rigid line and this wave around it. So that's so cool. I love that.
And you're tapping in. The cool thing is you're tapping into it because when we go through, so I have these 3 levels of trainings that I do with all these archetypes, and we go through these deep visualizations, and you literally like you're tapping into it because What you just described too is what we call like the divine masculine witness. When we as women are beautiful, we have beautiful bodies, beautiful hair, beautiful eyes. We are beautiful. We're built beautiful for a reason. We're meant to be seen, and we're meant to be cherished and experienced. So if you crave to be seen, that's normal, and you get to have that in your life. That's what's supposed to happen. And don't deny that desire, because that's the goddess speaking from within you saying, I'm beautiful and I'm powerful. Like, let the world take me in. You know, I want to be witnessed. I want to be cherished and adored. So that divine masculine witness, like in my life, when I've experienced that, it feels so good, because it's like you get to be in your full power, and there's a strong, steady man just there, like totally taking it in, and it feels good. So that divine masculine witness, it's funny, actually, there's another training that I did where when you awaken really each of these feminine energies, it actually awakens a divine masculine energy as well. So when you awaken your dynamic feminine energy, it awakens the divine masculine witness. It awakens his desire to watch exactly what you're talking about. So, but there's more. There's so much. It's funny, right before the interview, Mike was like, are these questions like their own topics, or are they specific questions? I'm like, they're kind of their own topics. But we'll do our best.
Yeah, I feel like we have like 5 hours worth of content that we're trying to push into like a 30-minute interview. So guys, bear with us. We're really trying to condense it.
Yeah.
So what is the fourth archetype?
Okay. So the fourth archetype is the princess. And before people come into the level 1, 2, and 3 feminine activation trainings that are all about these archetypes, I have people ask themselves, what archetypes do you feel most drawn to and most averse to? I was personally, even though I was creating the archetypes and putting them together, I was totally resistant to the princess. Like, I've never really been a big princess energy person. Like, even when I was little, I don't know, I watched Mary Poppins. I wasn't, my parents, I don't know. I wasn't ever really like princessy. This archetype has changed my life. Leading these 3 levels of trainings, I mean, these archetypes come to life. And so they're really their own, you can think of them as their own person. And they are showing us who they are. The princess is really about a woman being in that process of knowing that her destiny is huge. Every single person that is watching this, you have a potential that is so great. If you can tap into your ability to surrender and step into your power through alignment. So what that means is, the princess is, obviously she's destined to become a queen. She's been raised in this castle where she's only ever really known love, which is profound. She is the embodiment of kindness. Through her eyes, her presence, her touch, her eyes, her presence, her smile, she just gives kindness. Everybody adores her. Everybody loves her. So it's really that adoration that we crave as women as well. And she's a leader. So she's really powerful, and I've learned a lot from her. And I'll move on because there's more. So then the 5th archetype is the high priestess, who's my favorite, actually. They're all my favorite, but the high priestess is the embodiment of, she is the bridge between spirit and matter. It's like what we were talking about earlier. As women, we receive a baby in our body. Like, we are the bridge between nothing and something. We birth something. The masculine power is it's the seed. It's the ideas. When the ideas that we have lots of ideas every single day, right? Like you and I, lots of ideas. But the ideas that we care about, the ideas that drop into the heart, and our heart the heart is the goddess, the heart starts to feel something about that idea. That's when the heart and the body and everything will work together to birth that into life. So it's this beautiful intercourse that's constantly happening in our life between the masculine and the feminine. We need the seed, we need those ideas, we need that inspiration into our body But then it's the soul, that's this creative womb space that we all have as humans, really. But specifically as women, to then actually birth that into life. So the high priestess is the bridge between spirit and matter. She lives in this beautiful, I don't even want to call it a castle, just this like mountain stone castle thing high up in the mountains. Like I think of the Swiss Alps. She's literally elevated. She's completely elevated. She has intuition. She knows what's going on within every cell of every tree and plant, everything that's alive on the planet. She is really the founder of that, the birther of that. So that's the high priestess. And there's one more.
So before you do the last one, I have a question, if that's all right. So every woman is mostly one of these, or every woman could be a bit of all of them, or how does this all work?
So good. I love that question. So we are all of them, but a lot of us are more comfortable in one or two of them. And when we awaken all of them and feel comfortable, the third level actually is about, the first level is awakening these energies in this training. The second level is when these archetypes meet their mate. And then the third level is intimacy, it's sex, it's connection. And when you have awakened all of these archetypes within you, you are fully realized as a woman. You elevate to your full potential, because you from just speaking into sex and intimacy, like from moment to moment, you're dynamically shifting and changing. Maybe one moment you are embodying the energy of the queen, and you hold this sense of reverence and honor and beauty and grace about you that your partner just wants to just love on and just honor and give to this powerful woman. And then the next moment you soften into this sweet, vulnerable maiden energy, and you just become so soft and so surrendered. And that is a different experience for your partner. And then the next moment you're this high priestess, and you're literally connecting to spirit. And he, through your body, is now experiencing source energy. He's experiencing infinity through you. So this is the power you hold as a woman. Like this is the conversation. Like we have so much more to access. And to answer your question, Mike, it's we have all of these, but most women are more trapped in like one or two and are afraid to really experience all of them. So, but we can. we will. We're getting there.
Absolutely. I love that. That sounds so exciting.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like you're living this life where you're here, but you could be like up here just experiencing everything and bonding with more people, and every moment being a chameleon to really enjoy everything, as opposed to just enjoying one aspect or one slither of life. So that sounds absolutely amazing if you can kind of awaken all of this and then use it to your advantage, and then also realize which ones you love to go there more often, and then which partner makes sense for which ones you love to be in. I mean, that's just really neat. And I would love to dive way more deeper into this. But anyway, let's keep moving. So I believe we have one more archetype, Raf.
Yeah.
Right?
One more archetype, which is the seductress. And the
Ooh.
seductress. Yeah.
Here we go. Let's go.
So funny. So the seductress she's so powerful. She is the whole, the last training is actually the seductress embodying each of the archetypes. So the seductress is able to magnetize whatever she wants, whatever she needs through her desire. She wants something, she attracts it, because she is so fully embodied. When we focus our energy inward, we're actually activating our magnetic field. We're becoming more magnetic. So anytime you're in your body dancing or moving or running or, just putting lotion on your body, you are bringing your attention inward. It's literally like if you think of two arrows, one arrow going out and one arrow going in. When you're focused on your body, you let energy move toward you. this is the feminine energy. It's the magnetic pole, the receptive pole that attracts. The masculine energy is projecting, and it's the outward flow of energy. So anytime you're focused on your body, your sensual energy, your sexual energy, your pleasure, your everything that feels good, even getting a massage, anything that feels good, the grass, the sunlight, that's you activating and harnessing your feminine energy and becoming more powerful as a woman. So the Seductress is completely a master of this. She lives in her body, that she lives in her pleasure. Every single day, that's her main focus, is to how much can I experience joy and pleasure and feeling good in my body? And through that, she magnetizes whatever she wants, like just instantly. So, maybe one day she wants to, she can channel any of the other archetypes. She can, if she can attract a bad boy, she can attract like a good boy. Like she can attract whatever she wants. Her joy is experiencing all of life. Like she is tapped into the infinite possibilities that exist for us. And so her mission, her life purpose is to experience all the different dimensions of life. That's what we want as women. Like when I go into I actually, one of my ex-boyfriends used to make fun of me for this so much that like whenever I went into an ice cream shop, I did not want just one of the flavors. I had to try all of them because I'm a woman. I want to experience every flavor. I want that, So the Seductress is really a master of just being unapologetic about all of her desires, and she knows how to attract them with just a snap of a finger. And she's very magnetic.
I love that. Gotta have all of them. That must be a long ice cream. Baskin Robbins, all 36. You're just in there getting it. But that's awesome. And she has the personality where she's smiling. And I'm sure the guy who's giving it to her is like, I'm so happy to be giving her all these samples. This is fantastic. All right. So I want to that was magnificent. I want to totally change gears and ask you just a random question because that's what I do. What are men secretly craving in women?
They're craving this. They're craving what we just talked. They're craving what we just talked about. But more deeply, I love that question so much. I'll talk a little bit about masculine energy and masculine power, just to give context for this. Mm-hmm. Like we talked about, masculine energy it's simple, it's concise, it's clear, it's, structure, focus, devotion, commitment. It's all these things that are just locked down. It's just clear and concise. It's all these very strong energies. What a man is really craving is the dynamic nature of the feminine, like we talked about. I honestly have a theory that there's a reason that men go through this stage where a lot of men sleep with a lot of women, like in between age like 16 and 30, I don't know. But there's like a phase.
16 and like 82.
Yeah. There's a phase for a lot of guys where they like to sleep around. What they're really craving is the goddess. They're really craving the feminine energy. And through many women, they get different like experiences of it. But if you actually become a woman who knows how to tap into all of these different energies, then this sounds disempowering, but his simple energy is never bored. His simple energy is always awakened and excited by your presence because you're always changing and you're in your feminine power, which is dynamic. So that's one of the things that I think men really crave, is just this experience of life through you, and that dynamic energy. And another thing that men really crave, that the elevated woman it stands for and it embodies, is actual depth and substance. And when a man enters your body, he's entering into this depth. He's literally entering into this depth. And we think that, you know, we're kind of conditioned in this and cultured to be quite superficial. And a lot of the dating advice that is out here on YouTube, you know, it's so much of it is about connecting with his heart and how to pull him into his heart and your heart through actual emotion. So one of the things that men are really craving is that deeper experience of connection. So when you begin to flip your relationship with your own emotion and your relationship with your own pain and trauma and suffering, and you begin to see it as whatever challenge is coming into your life is an opportunity for you to deepen as a human being, you to gain more wisdom and more power and more depth, that you then have, like, I just think of, I mean, I do a lot of energy work, so sometimes what I speak is kind of esoteric, but when I really feel into who I am, there's this substance behind me. There's this weight and this depth and this sort of darkness within me that's come from not ignoring these feelings. You know, when we ignore what's going on under the surface, we're actually only kind of getting to a fraction of our power. When we learn to embrace darkness and challenge and go into it and let those parts of our life become part of our insight and wisdom and substance, we turn that darkness into love, we turn that pain into power, then again, it kind of adds to that dynamic nature. We are so much more to experience when he's inside of us, when he's inside of our hearts, when he's connecting to us. It's like the universe. He's connecting to the universe. So that's, I think men ultimately, secretly are really craving like a more spiritual, deep connection in life. And I think that women are finally learning that how to get there themselves. Like, we've been really conditioned away from that. But that's kept us all capped at this toxic glass ceiling that, you know, when we break through that, then we all rise, like men and women. So yeah. Does that make sense?
It actually really does. And I just kind of want to echo what you're saying and kind of circle back. It's kind of like going back to our voiceless beauty who doesn't share her darkness and share what's going on to her man. And then it goes back to the man who didn't feel needed and wasn't able to accomplish anything. When she finally voices what's going on, it allows him to protect her. It allows him to finally feel how she's feeling. Like, hey, when you were doing X, I was disappointed. He's like, oh, I never want you to feel disappointed. And then this gives him an opportunity to be like, I'm so sorry, and I'm going to do whatever it takes so that you don't feel that way again. So now you're allowing your rock, your guy, to deliver on him going straight forward and taking care of you. And now you can proceed to continue to dance around him. But he didn't know about that. So I absolutely love that. I think that's really elevating relationships where, you know, men don't know what to do and women are never telling him, and it's just an unhappy relationship. I know that was just a fraction of what you were talking about, but is that a decent example?
Oh, exactly. No, it's huge. It's huge. And I think men crave to be seen as much as we crave to be seen too. And I think one of the ways to really both activate your power and his power is to honor his presence in your life. You know, like, honor the fact that he's stable and steady and strong and consistent. Honor his simplicity. Honor that he doesn't need to have like thousands of shirts. Like, honor that, because that's a balancing factor to your life. And when you can appreciate him for that, you know, you both again polarize into this great dynamic that is so beautiful, and everybody gets to feel, this is beyond gender, of course, all of this, it's energy, but ultimately, like, when we can experience, I love what you're saying, it really is elevating because it's going to the extremes. And I think it's important to play on the edge of extreme, because if we're just playing safe and we're just staying comfortable in our relationships and we just come home and, you know, things are good, but it's not like exciting, that's literally like 10% of what's possible. And, you know, I think my mission really is to, in reality, we're only seeing 10% of what's going on. There's more than I can see. So let's start to tap into that. And relationships, sex, intimacy, connection is such a powerful way to do that, because it's through the heart, you know? And yeah. There's more we could talk about, obviously, but there's plenty of time. We can talk whenever.
Yeah. So I absolutely love this. I thought this was a magical representation of what a woman should be and what Anya is. And I love when I have guests on where maybe you didn't understand what they were talking about, or maybe you fully did. But if you just emulate what they're doing in that like 30-minute we're talking, like you have just elevated your level of womanhood. And so like folks like you, like Marnie Batista, that come on here and just act the way they do, Helena Hart, it's just so beautiful. And as a man, I watch you guys and I'm like, you guys know what you're doing. Like, this is good stuff. So thank you for that. That was absolutely phenomenal. I was super drawn into what you were saying. Before we go, we're going to give everyone a free gift because I know they're going to want to see and talk to you more. So what we're going to do is I'm going to throw it in the description, and then I'll also pin it as the top comment. So guys, just go click that and you can get it. Anya, what free gift are you giving away?
Yeah, I have a gift for everybody called 24 Hours to Activate Your Feminine Energy. And it's 24 hours of amazing content that dives into everything from healing, from trauma, sexual abuse, to, you know, really what it takes to attract a powerful mate, to what it really feels like to be in your power as a woman in leadership in the world. So it's really the full spectrum of healing, of empowerment in your life, and attracting that elevated love. That's what we're all about. I realize it says East-West Woman, which was a long time ago. That's what I was working, that was my business. But now it's Elevated Woman. So it's the Elevated Woman series, actually, is the 24 hours to activate your feminine energy. So it's really powerful.
Awesome. Guys, get your hands on that. That's going to be magical. Anya, thank you so much for coming on here. I learned a lot. So that means hopefully everyone else learned a lot. And guys, we'll have another video on Tuesday and hopefully one in between. I love everyone. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Bye, guys.